Hey, y'all, it is March the 8th. I just double checked. 2020, 2024. Let me apologize straight away for last night. I was fumbling and stumbling like you wouldn't believe. Honestly, I just wanted to finagle on the internet. That didn't get me nowhere. So then I thought, well, why don't I just ramble about like a Joe Biden do before you fall asleep? That didn't work either. I don't remember anything to say, and so I just cut out. Actually, I was realized I was kind of sleepy anyways, and so I ran away, crying like a little girl. Cried myself to sleep. To sleep. All right, if you want to know. But you know what's even worse than that? And shout out to my people out there. Shout out to Brenda. What's even worse than that is when I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh man, passed out, and I look and there's a comment on a video that wasn't even worth watching. I wouldn't even watch it. I wouldn't watch it at all. It's a comment on it. God bless her. God bless all my people out there. And I don't know what y'all are dealing with. Probably some shenanigans. But I wanted to share something with y'all tonight. Because I saw the comment earlier today, actually. And I saw who it's from. And I read the very beginning of it. And I thought, oh, how nice. It's very nice. But I didn't actually read the whole comment. All right. So right now, I'm going to read it together because I feel like it's probably going to be very special. All right. Plus, there's also other comments as well. And these comments, I reply to them, but I never really tell y'all about them. But sometimes they're real deep. And then maybe I'll remember them later. I'll remember about them, how deep they were. But I won't remember exactly what they said. And then they'll get lost. They'll get lost in the abyss, and I'll never ever be able to get them back ever again. Oh, that's just how notifications works here on YouTube. Like, for example, having a very hard time pulling up the comment right now, and it was just only, I don't know how long ago. It was less than 24 hours ago. Got a comment. And in the meantime, I guess it's Friday. So in the meantime, I got all these notifications. Too many. I got too many notifications. I'm gonna have to like harness or hone in on my priorities because I got way too many of these damn notifications. And all the notifications I got, I'm like, dang, I'm glad I got notified of that. But it'd be like a notifications feed of like 50 things at a time. That's just way too many. Like every day. So I'm here. I got to the comment. We're gonna read it here together. Let's find out what the hell is going on. Shout out to Never Ever Forget on the internet. Right? I'm not sure which one's first. Well, they might be the same. They're not the same one. Okay, I think I know which one's first. So let me read them in chronological order. Shout out to Never Forget. She says, "Hey Gerard." That's my name. All right. Jesse's in the back if you can see him. Hey Gerard, it's been a while. I've actually been wanting to tell you that as an elder friend, that it's been a while. I'm not really sure. I'm not. I don't really. I'm not sure what how that or what that means, but we're gonna get to the bottom of it right now. All right, Brenda says, I just want you to know, for lack of a better term, that I'm proud of you. And that's why I stopped reading earlier. Proud of you. I don't. We got to get to the bottom of this because I really don't know what you're referring to. All right, I need to know. So just thought to let you know before it gets much later in the game. All right, and it goes on from there. It says, I can't believe it's been a year now since I tuned in the first time, and it seems like you were in a transition. I don't know what that means. I don't know if Brenda's in the building right now. She can tell us what it means. There's somebody in there. But it seems like I was in a transition, and I might have been. I think I was born a lady. But it's a long comment, so let me go ahead and just get it out. She then laughs out loud. All right. She says, not in today's terms, meaning I'm not a transgender, and she's not accusing me of that. And I thank her for that. Okay. I want to know what she's getting at. Brenda say, but you were picking yourself up from one of life's tumbles. And trust me, had a lot of tumbles. She said a year ago, something or this and that. I've been tumbling around. I've been tumbling since then. Brenda knows what I'm talking about. I think Brenda knows what it's like to be tumbling, rumbling, and stumbling like a Joe Biden sometimes. All right, I'm not sure if she's going to describe what kind of tumble I was taking, but I'm sure probably y'all know what kind of tumble I was taking as well. So many tumbles that I've been taking. That's the only reason why I don't know which tumble that you're referring to. Since you were talking about growing a garden and different ways to live, gosh, I was dreaming and daydreaming of growing a garden just today, of course. I mean, spring is upon us, or it's almost upon us. It's talking about growing a garden and living a different kind of way. I'm kind of interested because lots of times I'll like talk about stuff and a long time after I totally forget that I even said this, and then people will say, hey, didn't you remember you said this? And I said, I don't know. But then I find out it's like, I guess that's me saying it. Unless somebody had deep faked me, somebody might. We got a robot up in the building. Listen, I know one of y'all's a robot, all right? I want to get down to the bottom of it. I just need to know if the other person's going to be on my side against the robot. I think I scared the robot off. All right. You were talking about growing a garden. Gosh, man, I would love to talk to y'all about growing a garden as well again this year. I don't know. You know what? Earlier today, all right, this is how much I think about it. This might be something someone needs to hear. Earlier today, I had bought some bell peppers, and it's been a long time since I've done so. It's been a long time since I bought some bell peppers, but I wanted some. Lots of times I'll be buying mushrooms, which is good, and that's a totally different world. But this time I thought, nah, forget the mushrooms. I want some bell peppers. And so I bought some bright red ones. They're delicious. And I took the pit, and I carefully saved all the seeds. I actually got them right. I didn't I didn't really think about it this way. Like I didn't mean to show and tell y'all. But if in case you didn't believe me, here's all the seeds. Now, a typical bell pepper, like the one that I had, easily is gonna have like 100 seeds. And there's different like percentages of germination and whatnot. And like even when you buy seeds, like say from a seed bank, they'll tell you only like certain percentage of them will bloom. I figure with the bell peppers, 85 to 90% of those seeds, every one of those seeds is going to grow. So hypothetically, I could take that one bell pepper and I grow like 100 other bell peppers. All right. And it's just sick. That's why I did it. That's why I saved it. It's like I don't even know if I'm gonna plant them, but it's like, dude, it's so sick that we eat bell peppers or anything else for that matter. Take the seed and throw it out. That's sick. That freaks me out. But we're not done with the comment. We gotta finish up with this comment. It's long as hell. All right. She's saying I was going through a tumble. That's for sure. She's saying I was growing a garden. She says it was different ways to live that I was talking about. She said my spirit was familiar to her. Wow. Well, that's amazing. I mean, I don't know how amazing, but I want to call it amazing because certainly, as we've been talking about spirits and to include demons, it's interesting to notice patterns. Um, some demons are very similar, and then of course some spirits who aren't evil, those probably be real similar. And so it's because of that, people all over the world, you'll run around and you find people that's similar, almost the same. You're like, hey, dude, you're exactly the same, except you look different than this person who I knew over there. And I come here and you're over here and you're looking like you don't even look like that person, but you're acting like that person, exactly like that person. So like can imagine, I don't know if I brought it up, but as y'all might imagine, I've been told, for example, that I look like somebody's best friend or their neighbor or their childhood friend or whatever. I've been told that like 1,000 times in my life. That's kind of on a different note that I guess physically, I look very familiar to a lot of people. I don't know who acts like me, all right? Because whoever acts like me, they're really good at hiding from me. And I can't find them. I sincerely can't find them. And if I could find them, I'd hang around them a lot. I'd hang around them a whole bunch. We're trying to get through with this comment. We're still not through with it. So I'm going to bang it out right now. All right. Okay. So my spirit was familiar to her. My spirit, like talking with my brothers or nephews. Also, you always said the date of your video. I just want to explain for everybody out there, in case if you wonder why I say the date of my video, that I don't have a really good explanation for that. I think sometimes it's important to know what's the date. I don't know how important it is, though, to be quite honest. If I never said the date, I don't know if it would even be important. I mean, you could find out the date if you really wanted to. And I know that. I know all that. Okay, but what are you getting at? Never forget, what are you getting at on the YouTube? She says you were talking about growing a garden. You were talking about different ways to live. You always said the data on your video. That gave me smiley faces. Anyways, we were fast friends. You've made it through a lot and came out the other end confident, healthy, and strong. And it makes a friend's heart happy. Oh, thank you. And I appreciate it. Um, it's good to make people happy. Am I right? Make feel good. But I never fail to remind people that happiness, in my opinion, it's not worth. It's not like worthwhile. Happiness, as I said before, sometimes I make people happy. Sometimes people call me happy, like it's my nickname. It's really not that worth it. It's definitely not worth it to pursue it. However, sometimes we're happy. And I notice, like, man, sometimes we're the happiest. Just the reason why we're so the happiest sometimes in our life is because we're making a connection, say, with another person. Sometimes it's the most random of connections. We get very happy. All right. And I think lots of times our perspective forgets that really we're the happiest in our whole lives. And it always has to do with interacting with other people, usually, right? Typically. But there's another comment. I want to read it right quick. Plus, also, shout out to Angela Tate. The thing is, man, my notifications are so vast that I don't know if I'll be able to find her comment, but I'm gonna definitely look for it because y'all know Angela Tate goes real deep all the time. Pause. No homosexual. We don't mean that in a homosexual way when we say deep. That it goes real deep. Never forget says, hey, again, we should have our own State of the Union live show. I didn't watch it, but feel the demise of the Union and the approaching lunar eclipse, a big sign from above. Damn it, Brenda. We were talking about the solar eclipse. We're going to have to talk about that. It was one of those things that I don't really necessarily have stuff written down, but one of the notes in my head was that solar eclipse. I know a lot of people I probably don't even know what the hell we're talking about. Right? Maybe a lot of people do, but a lot of people certainly don't. And from what I understand, I'm gonna have to research a little bit more. Apparently, this eclipse is like only really visible from certain areas to include San Antonio, Texas. And that's why people are even taking in airplane flights into San Antonio at that exact particular time. I read an article about particular airlines providing flights to San Antonio at that particular time, and it's called something like Flights of Totality or some crap. It's called like some like Flights of Totality or something. It was creepy. It creeped me out. And we're going to talk about it here in a second, but I'm not sure. Brenda was talking about. See, the thing is, I'm desperately trying to figure out if I'm even capable, and I should be, of having a split screen and a guest. I think I should be. I think I should be because I think I should, and I think I have had guests before. But for some reason, even more difficult than that is putting like an article, say right here, and me reading it with my face, and there's an article, just so that like you can know what the hell I'm talking about. And it's not just random psychotic gibberish that I'm talking about. Because sometimes to me it sounds like I'm being randomly psychotic and gibbering. That's what it sounds like to me when I say it. Okay, so here's the thing: State of the Union. We could have like a split screen and just talk trash, dude. I had Brenda behind me like Kamala and stuff, and she'll just be nodding her head and I'll be talking trash. And I guess that would be us having our State of the Union, if that's what she means. But however, from what I understand, as far as like live streaming, say Joe Biden, his State of the Union, I think that was his last one. All right. I think that was his last one. Some people out there might say, well, what if he gets reelected? He'll have more State of the Unions. And he probably will get reelected, right? But anyways, all right. So that came from Branda, that word. And as she brought up the eclipse, I did want to bring it up and get it out of the way right now. Um, yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this here eclipse. I probably spoke on it. I don't remember. I really don't remember sometimes what I have and have not spoken about on the internet. But not long ago, I was messing around. Right? I messed around and I found out. And I was finding out about solar sales, people selling solar. And to this day, I'm not going to be long winded about it, but to this day, solar is not a bad idea. Solar is not a bad idea, especially in San Antonio, Texas. It's not as amazing or mystical and a mystical amazing as some people would have you believe, and it's certainly not going to save the earth or anything like that, as some people would have you believe. Right? That's crazy. But anyways, yeah, I was trying a little bit of solar selling. Right? I didn't sell any of it because, as you can kind of tell, I just couldn't cause myself to completely believe in the product. Can't completely believe in it because it's pretty good. But people like to make it like it's gonna save the earth, and it's so complicated as far as this and that and tax benefits and this and that. I still don't understand it. Anyways, none of that matters. What matters is that I was in a neighborhood, a strange neighborhood, like across town, somewhere on the northeast side of San Antonio. And I was instructed to drive over there and go knock on people's doors and see if they would want some solar. And that's what I did. I had a decent amount of fun, to be honest. It was kind of fun. All right. Long story short about the solar, I never did sell no solar, and I wound up running out of money. And it turns out I needed money really bad, and so I stopped doing it. Start trying. Perhaps I would take it up again, but it's like I said, it's like honestly, right now, as it is right now, if I was to think about going into sales, I honestly would go into selling automobile vehicles. Right? You might say, "Oh, you don't know nothing about vehicle build automobile build." I'd say, "Hey, you don't know nothing about it." It's like, no, I don't. All right, but if I was to sell anything, I think I would try to sell that. Right? Because people need them. It's like, dude, you're gonna if you don't like me, it's gonna go somewhere else and buy a car. I know you're gonna buy a car, right? I know you're gonna buy a car. But with the solar, it's more so like, hey, sure you don't want some solar? I heard you might want some solar. Anyways, so I was in a strange neighborhood, right? And I knew about the eclipse. I'd heard about it a couple of times. It intrigued me. I mean, this happens to me all the time too. I don't know about y'all, and it's something I need to work on. It intrigued me. I wanted to know more about it and everything like that when we were talking about it, but I never got around to it. And in fact, I wound up forgetting about it. So by the time I got to this neighborhood, I was driving around the little neighborhood, just kind of scoping it out. I noticed there was people standing outside, and it's just more people than typical. It's really not a lot of people, and it's shameful to say, but it's really not a lot of people standing outside these days in their neighborhood, just doing nothing. It's not a lot of people doing that. So it was like an amount of people in which I thought, well, this is kind of significant. Plus, there's people in there like looking up, into the sky. And so like it actually didn't take me too long until I figured out, oh yeah, there's that eclipse thing. That's probably why they're in the middle of the day just staring up at the sky right now. And so what I did is I stopped my car and I proceeded to walk around the neighborhood, more or less, try to find people and sell them solar and whatnot, or not sell it to them, or just kind of like get them interested in solar. And as I did that, I was kind of like taken aback by the whole eclipse thing. Because might I just say real briefly that it was kind of intense. It was kind of intense, we're just walking around. Everybody's kind of like an eerie feeling, still feeling, right? And then it's like bright and early in the afternoon, perhaps. And, as like the seconds and minutes go on, the sky becomes the sky in San Antonio, Texas starts to go dim and it ain't no clouds. It just so happened it wasn't like there wasn't a cloud in the sky. And you look up and it's like kind of dim. Like, damn, this is creepy and weird. People all had these special glasses that they were all issued. Like this whole neighborhood, everybody who I saw out there, they all had these special glasses for looking at the eclipse. And one of the persons let me borrow it so that I could see. And it was like after seeing on eclipse, it's like it reaches its climax, and then of course it gets lesser and lesser of an eclipse. So after the climax, if you were, somebody was kind enough to let me get the glasses, and so I was seeing the eclipse. You see it real good with the glasses. You could see it real good, and it was pretty damn intense. But also, while I was kind of climaxing, pause. While I was climaxing, I figured out because they say, "Hey, you're gonna go blind. Don't look at it. Gonna go blind. So stop." I live on the edge, right? I'm something of a badass. I think Brandon knows that. And so I took my shades. I had regular shades, and what I figured out was if you take the shades, you can do this. Like this number where it's like you're going back and forth over your eyes. You're actually able to see the eclipse pretty good without hurting your eyes. I mean, that's like assuming you're not going to look at it for a whole entire minute. If you want to look at it for a few seconds, you could do this. You'll see it pretty damn good. Right. So it was kind of intense, kind of eerie and stuff like that. Shortly after that, I was reminded, in the neighborhood while I'm talking to people, they had brought up that there was going to be another eclipse after this one. They said it's basically going to be like double. I mean, it's going to be significantly more eclipse like or some crap is what they're saying. And instantly back in the back of my mind, I knew, wow, that's gonna be all effed up because this one right here was noticeable, right? It was easy to notice. It was very eerie, like I was saying. If you're outside, you didn't notice this, then you're a psychopath, right? That's how you know that you're a psychopath. If you didn't notice this, it was all right. So the next one's gonna be like double, and I put that in the back of my head, like, oh my god, it's gonna be like double. But so now, as the times approach, as it's all been agreed, me and Brenda agreed. I don't know about this other robot in the room, but me and Brenda agreed we're in the last days. Even the robot probably agrees. We're freaking in the last days, and I don't mean that to say, oh, like, uh, to sound cool or whatnot. It's just like, wow, it's crazy undeniable. Every day that goes by, it's more undeniable. It's freaking me out. All right. So, okay. As days go by, my mind is putting together that eclipse of totality, as they say, and the end of days. I don't know why that is. It's probably something very biblical about it. The end of days, and it's not necessarily correlated at all, related. But there's a boxer man by the name of Ryan Garcia. Well, I'm actually just very recently familiar with this boxing guy. I'm trying to get the comments. So this boxing guy, Ryan Garcia, a lot of people don't know, but a lot of people do. That he's been wilding out, and some people think that he's been having a nervous breakdown. And if he is, then people deserve to have nervous breakdowns and mental breakdowns and stuff. I want to give him like some space, give the guy some space, if you will, and let him or whatnot. But see, he has a fight coming up apparently And so his opponent, his opponent's over there not knowing what the hell to think or do. And Ryan Garcia is over here talking to Andrew Tate and everybody else saying that he's been R-worded and that he's seen children being R-worded, that he actually got took to the woods and tied down. I'm not exaggerating any of this, and then because a lot of people know, like tied down in the woods, and then he had to watch little kids be R-worded. And certainly he was having a mental breakdown, and if that was all true, then you couldn't blame him, right? And then like if it's not true, if he made it up, he's having a mental breakdown, right? And his opponent over there is like not. Can you imagine if that was your opponent? If your opponent was doing that, you'd be pretty confused. So, but I forget the dates, if you will. I want to say the eclipse is on April 8th, and I could be wrong about that. All right. Um, Ryan Garcia is over there on the social media writing secret messages about that they're going to kill him. They are going to kill him, say, like on the 12th or something like that, and then deleting the message, and then it's getting reported, and then I'm hearing about it. That's what kind of shenanigans we're talking about. Okay. I want to see real quick over here to the side if I can find the comment from Angela Tate. I'm pretty sure she went pretty deep as well. But I got too many notifications. All right. So I'll finagle with that later. Okay. Before we get up out of here, we may or may not get back to Angela Tate's comment, which is, I'm sure, pretty damn deep. But in the meantime, I feel pretty good about what we have already covered. Number one is that the eclipse is coming. It may somehow have to do with signaling the end of the world. Ryan Garcia over there is either slipping and tripping in reality or like slipping and tripping in his mind or something. And we're all going to find out here pretty soon. So a lot of crazy, weird nutball stuff going on. All right, we just want to get a little bit of a taste before we go to sleep. That's all. Before we talk about some of this chicanery, I did want to mention that it's like, wow, me, Brenda, me and say Maitre Mark, me and say Big Phillip, me and say 80s kid, and the list goes on and on and on and on. We've had some memories together, and I've had to juggle it into my mind because I know people in real life, if you will, if you were to say in physical life, where they see my flesh in person. You only see my flesh all digital. All right, some of y'all see my flesh digital and in person. It's for real. It's totally real. It is autistic. It's retarded. So a lot of y'all, and God bless y'all. Shout out to y'all out there. But so what I noticed and juggling in my head and observing that, of course, there's people on the internet who I couldn't even pick them out of a lineup. That's how much I don't know who they are. There are those people, and there's those people. There's some on the internet who I would trust way more. All right, it's kind of obvious, but it dawned on me real hard. I would trust these people on the internet way more just to tell them something. I'm not trying to sound like an authority on. I don't know if I sound like I'm an authority on something. I'm not. I'm not supreme. I know I'm white, but somehow I'm not supreme. Okay, I just want to say things, and those things They're gonna sound wild. Sometimes people get depressed. They say, "Why are you so pessimistic?" And I'm not. I'm very happy, and I don't even want to be happy. It's just that am. I am so happy, and I'm not even trying. It's the end of days, though. It's pretty easy to understand. Never forgets up in the building, holding it down. I have so many memories, right? And so we'll never forget on YouTube. We already got so many memories, and already there's a confidence there. And it's like I can't talk to three people on Earth, three men. I can't talk to three men out there the way I talk with you, and it's such a realistic manner. Never forget says, it just said my comment was too long, but hope you get the gist of it. Comment is too long, Brenda. It's way too long, but I do appreciate it. I did get the gist of it as well. All right. I don't know if you're talking about a different comment or something. Totally confused. But wild shenanigans, chicanery. This is like, here's my reasoning why it's important that I can mention these wild chicanery, tomfoolery shenanigans. Number one is that it seems like all the time, every single day, at least a few times a day, I'll come across things that are wild and bizarre, and I can't really share them with people. There's one person out there, I think he knows who he is, in which if I share it with him, he's already gonna know about it. What the hell I'm talking about? We're seeing this. We see it every day, dude. We can't even look away from it. Somehow we get the update in the software update every damn day about the wild shenanigans. All right. So I mean, what was not into my head, what I've known a long time, is that I can't even trust to even talk to people. Right. It's like, okay, I could talk with people and I can interact with people and we can have a good time, right, in the physical world. But there's certain and I'm every day realizing more. There's certain things, there's certain truths and obvious realities that I cannot discuss with you, and I'm just gonna pretend like it doesn't exist, right? And I'll bide my time and wait until somebody might understand me, and I'll tell them about it. Right, because it's just gonna get me more incriminated for people who are not ready for this sort of information. And I'm not like saying, "Oh, I'm a genius." I'm saying this easily obtainable information ain't ready for this. And so it's not profitable to be mixing up their heads with it and confusing them, right? And then they look at me like, "Oh, I'm crazy nutballs," and I get them depressed or something like that. And I'm not like ragging on anybody in particular. It's just that I could tell in general. That's how it goes. However, there's the idea that like perhaps it's good to articulate these wild thoughts that I have with somebody. If I wasn't doing it with y'all, perhaps I'd be sitting in the corner just talking to myself. All right. We're doing something. Would I just keep it all bottled up inside? Is that what I would do? I don't know. Never forget says, I know what you mean. It's amazing. That so many people don't realize the time we're in. Yes. It's amazing. And I think that's one part of the show that me and Brenda are watching right now, just on the edge of our seats. This show, one part of the show is that most of the people in the show do not realize the show's almost over, and they're over here pretending like they're not in a show. It's like, dude, the only reason that you even exist is to be in my show, to be in Brenda's show, right? It's the only reason you don't even understand this show is about to go down. You're over here thinking that you're gonna continue playing the role that you're gonna keep playing that role. But it's like that's part of the show, isn't it? It's part of the show. And to think, it's like to know that that's the nature of the show is to understand that in our future, if we live to see tomorrow, me and or Brenda, we're going to see some old bullshit stuff that we don't want to see. We don't want to see the tragic calamity that is inevitably going to spill over. It's like we don't want to see that, but we're going to be here to see that. That's what I was thinking about it the other day. Not to like harp on it, it's like, but the other day I was thinking about it. It's like, dude, we're over here watching these wild shenanigans unfold in front of us, and we had to know that it's only going to get worse. That we haven't seen the worst of it. And I think back to my hospital days when I was just sitting up in the hospital, and it's like I'm glad I'm here with y'all. I'm glad that I'm here communicating with some of the finest on YouTube. I but I think to myself, it's like, dude, it probably would have been easier to just freaking die. And can you imagine? I was like this close to dying. Here's the thing, guys. I don't agree with people deleting themselves, and I think it is very cowardly and stuff like that. And there's a lot of different scenarios, but I think it's unproductive. All right. I surely wouldn't want to do it, but I was there. I was almost there, about to just shuffle off and let y'all deal with this, dude. Wouldn't that be crazy? That would be a good part of the story. Could you imagine? Old Gerard, old crazy talking Gerard, all those crazy things that he was saying, oh, this, and this, and this is going to all go down. We were always telling Gerard, this is like postmortem. We were always telling Gerard, oh, you're crazy. It's going to happen in 20 years. It's going to happen in 20 years, we told him. It's going to happen in 30 years. It's going to happen in maybe in my lifetime. It might happen, but it's not going to happen soon. It's all going to happen right now, buddy. But the thing is, I'm actually still here. I want to get to experience it with all y'all and stuff, man. And like I said, for anybody who gets out of that scenario, I mean, everybody's liable to have all sort of crazy nightmare scenarios, right? And I'm not the final arbitrator on your story or whatever, but I would like to encourage everybody out there. It is going to be so hard, and it is probably going to be so lonely and messed up. But like, it's unprotected. It's like I do honestly think it's a failure on your part. It's like as though Satan has defeated you and reduced you to killing yourself, like Aaron Bushnell the other day, because he is such a dork. And not everybody who does it is such a dork, but he was such a dork. And that was his problem. That's one of his big problems. And demons, right? A lot of people don't know what the hell we're talking about. So no, they don't. They don't realize what time we're in. And that's part of the show. As we like carefully document here on this channel and on Rumble as well. We plan to get on live streamed Rumble and stuff. That's really where I want to go live, but you know, I'm still I'll let you know about Rumble. It's preparation. It's like the documentation of the weird, wild stuff going on. The awareness of all the shenanigans. To being aware, but not focusing on being aware, if you know what I mean. Right? I mean, y'all out there. I'm sure we all been at that point where we're trying to focus on so many things all at once. I think that's why people can't even sleep very much, usually. And I'm not an expert, but it's like trying to focus on so much. I don't even think that it's necessary. I mean, it's all just me suggesting things right now, and I'm suggesting them to myself, and y'all are listening in, and that's creepy. But it's like what I know is that it's not important for us, as we know, the end is near, right? And it's going to be terrible, horrible. We're not going to have no fun doing it. We're not doing it, but we're going to be in it while it's happening. That is, if we don't die, we're not promised tomorrow. All right, so we know we're going to be here, right? If we're here and all this wild stuff. Yeah, to kind of document it and get prepared for it, if you will. You can't really get prepared for it because it's like so what do they call it, surprising, chaotic. Can't really get prepared for the end except might I argue in a spiritual way. It's the only way we can really get prepared for it spiritually. Yeah, but I'm like thinking to myself, and isn't that the age old question, am I prepared for it spiritually? Because, like, for example, in that one book, the Bible, they got 5 people in the building. That don't make no sense. Two of y'all's robots, three of y'all my ride or die crew forever. All right, blood in, blood out. And I'm just gonna stalk you until you're in my cult. All right, forever. And the robots. We're gonna have robots in the cult. Okay. Four Corners Report, you're back for a long dang time. Four Corners Report. So this guy I've known for a long time as well. He's just here popping up in the building. I don't know if he's from still out of Colorado, like I believe he was. Colorado. Is it the end of the world in Colorado as well? Says good evening, Gerard ain't right. And we do have a Russian bot, and I knew it. Made trademarks up in the building. I think we had to take advantage of this, you guys, because I don't know for how long, whatnot. But while we're here, if you got time, we got kind of a Captain Planet thing going. We got like everybody and their mama in here. It's all sort of Russian bots, they're colluding. And I don't know what we're trying to get accomplished, but I imagine something like Captain Planet for those. I don't know if they probably didn't have no Captain Planet over in Australia, but they probably had a ripoff type of Captain Planet. It was like a superhero, and it was like created by hippies, I think. All right. Four Corners Report says it's the end. See, everybody here, I can't. That's the thing about it. I was thinking about it in my head. I was like, dude, everybody here who I somehow, I have no idea how I attract them to my channel. They all full well know it's the end of the damn world, dude. So it's the end of the damn world. Four Corners Report says it's the end, and you can't prepare for what. See, that's what I mean. And I totally agree. So I was trying to say I couldn't really articulate it too good, but it's like there's nothing you can do. You can't predict because the end of the world, as it's described in the Bible, is that so you're liable to fall down with a heart attack. I mean, it's just like crazy stuff. You can't be prepared for it. But however, it's like our spirit. I don't know. I don't know if I'm correct, or I think if I can even articulate. It's like our spirit is being hardened, not hardened like from God, like not in that sense, but it's like being prepared almost. It's almost those like it's being calloused, if you will, from all sort of wild chaos slapping us in the face. It's like we wouldn't be able to deal with the things and the situations that we're gonna have to deal with if we weren't somehow prepared. Say, by God, and I don't know if that makes sense or if that's correct. All right, but Four Corners Report says it is the end, buddy. Can't prepare. It's just coming. It's coming upon us. All right. The only sure thing is Jesus. I tend to agree. May trademark. up in the building for a time. He says, "Who cares what happens to the planet?" Oh my gosh! He said, "I live on a flat Earth." Oh yeah! Don't even matter what happens to that ball, y'all ball tards. Got Nitrate Mark, he's straight chilling upon a flat Earth, and he ain't got a problem with it. The globalists can't touch him over in Microvia, so that's for sure. But as Maitre Mark well knows, those globalists are not that far away from you. All right. How far is what New Zealand or whatever got over there? I need to look at a globe. I mean, not a globe, around depiction of the flat Earth. I need to kind of have one of those over across the room, and it's blasphemy. But never forget, says cool, just like the old days, we're all here. God, that's crazy to think. And it got to the point where it's like, wow, I'm irresponsible. I thought maybe I got to get away from YouTube. Maybe all these people out here who love children. Maybe like it's like, dude, they're freaking me out. I need to get away from this and stuff. But really, I mean, I had this whole crew. This whole crew wants to go, hey, I've just been sitting on YouTube. And the answer is yes. Y'all have just been sitting here on YouTube, and so have I as well. I've been here on YouTube as well, watching all this crazy stuff because all those things are censored off YouTube. There's still a lot on YouTube because everybody goes to YouTube, dude. That's why there's so much on it. That's worthwhile. But I also go on Rumble. I'm 50-50, y'all. I'm 50-50. Sometimes I'll check Rumble first. Sometimes, I'll check YouTube first. Sometimes this and that, man. It's like, I don't just. I couldn't get away from YouTube, you guys. And never forget, says cool. It's just like the old days. He said, I've been feeling that like autopilot. I don't know what the hell you're referring to, Brenda, but autopilot. Hell yeah, I've been feeling that as well. Four Corners report says AFK phone. I don't know what the hell you are saying. All right, some sort of code terms, all right, Russian collusion, in which I'm not even invited, and that's what's pissing me off. It's only that part is that I don't understand what the hell is going on, right? So okay, we were saying that it's like we're saying that just to kind of like put it out there. That's why it's like, okay, wild chicanery here, and we can get something out of it. I don't know what we're getting out of it, and certainly we're not going to be prepared for what's going on and stuff, but there's something happening here, and I like it. I don't know what it is. I don't even know what you're saying. But the reason why I brought it up is because I want people to know, only certain people, seems only y'all, and then anybody could reference this at a date in the future. So I want y'all to know that I'm nothing like Aaron Bushnell or a lot of these people. A lot of people are going to end it all because they are weak or whatnot or something, right? And so these people who wind up lighting themselves on fire, these people, they probably talk all sort of crazy nonsense long before they ever do it, right? I'm only guessing about Aaron Bushnell because I never researched it too hard, but I'm just guessing. I mean, think to yourself, this guy, he's lighting himself on fire and he was live streaming it. It causes me to wonder who the hell is even watching it. I honestly want to know. These are, and I'll never get the answers. I'll never. And I want to know how many people are watching Aaron Bush now as he lit himself on fire. Was the number zero? Because likely the number was zero, and isn't that sad? It's pretty damn sad, right? Um, but there could have been one or two or three, or it could have been a lot. And all those people, something wrong with you. All right, letting your man do this, but there's nothing I guess that you could have done to stop him, or perhaps I don't know. I don't know. Anybody egged him on? Nobody knows, dude. The news mentioned it, but they're not gonna follow up on shit, buddy. The news ain't gonna follow up on nothing, all right? So that's what I wanted to stress. In no way am I planning to delete myself. I don't feel like harming myself is a good idea, and I know a lot of people do, and God bless them. But I just want to let y'all know that. But at the same time, something that I couldn't just come out and say to like the normies out there. It's like the world's fucking over, dude. Like, so technically, when you really think about it, that's kind of liberating, right? Not in a perverted way, not in a criminal way. That's not what I'm suggesting, although some people would probably come to that conclusion. But it's liberating. The world's ending, so think about that. Uh, like for example, the other day when I was thinking about it, I was kind of racking my brain, and I was trying to think, what is more insane? So I was thinking in my head, what could possibly be more insane than trying to live an average life as a man right now, and you think you're going to live this average life and struggle and get buy a car and buy a house and start a family. Most of these things are not gonna fucking happen, dude. You are insane to think it. I'm over here. And I'm kind of like seeing it all go down. I also earn like average somewhat money. Like I'm in poverty. Right? I don't know how that makes you think about me or how it makes you feel about me, but personally, I would have to admit it. I've all my whole life basically right there under the poverty line, probably. And that's not a good place to be sitting, but also all these people are like right there too, and they don't even freaking know it, or they're just finding out right now. It's like if in fact all the evidence, if you will, is pointing that it's the end of the world, then you'd have to be insane to continue living an average life. In fact, if in fact you're not satisfied by that life. And I know, for example, a lot of guys are not satisfied with their average life. I don't know if it's like every day, dude. Today as well. Uh, Average fellas were talking to me about their aspirations to get average girls to get their attention. It's beyond, it's so insane. Not only is it like level 11 whimsical, you're being fucking whimsical. Oh, you think a girl is gonna pay attention to you? And I'm not talking to a specific person. I'm talking to different various people who, if I allow them to, they will tell me about, because this is like the timeless thing that guys talk about. And it is, but you're talking about back in the day, average guys could and did in fact attain girls. And these people are fucking insane. And I don't say that they're insane because I want to like rag on them or dogpile on them. What I mean is that they're fixing to lose it. And even dorks and dweebs, say like Eric Bushnell, that's why such a great example. They'll become um, just out of this world violent. Like, for example, they'll light themselves on fire. If you were to give Aaron Bushnell anything, is you gotta thank him at least for not acting like a faggot and running around and shooting people before you decided to light yourself on fire. And you're a faggot, and you did light yourself on fire, and thank God you did. It's like, wow, this is. But so I'm not. I don't want anybody to look at me and think like I'm somewhere on the same parallel plane as this fella. I'm not. It's the end of the world, but it's liberating, and I think it's very encouraging as well because any of us, and I'm looking at myself in particular, any of us could take our averageness and reformulate and turn it to 11, turn it to the extreme. Cash that Takashi 6 9 spirit. Am I right? Thing is, I mean, shout out to everybody who's in this room and stuff. They're all legends. We all go way back. But for example, I don't have to tell y'all, I don't have to prove it. Maitre Mark up in the building is a freaking legend, and everybody knows it. Kind of hit my shin right now. Everybody knows this. I mean, you could just, it's easy to see what he's done, and it's like super badass. And most people can't hang. That's just all that there is to it. Most people just can't hang with it. And so you look at someone like Maitre Mark, and you understand that there is no possible benefit to trying to be average or normal. Listen, like most of my life, for example, most of my behaviors and this and that, and operating in this world, as you might understand, like I've gone out of my way to to seem normal and to not like to seem average, to try to be average and normal and not kick up dust. Believe it or not, that's been like one of the biggest goals of mine is just to try to fit in enough to get, say, the benefits from society. See, there's certain benefits that you get from society by not being so odd or whatever. By fitting in and normalizing, you get certain benefits, right? But those particular benefits are dwindling and dwindling and dwindling and dwindling. And thankfully, thank God that I already have it, like personally have a child, right? So there's plenty of men out there. They got this inkling, right? They want to spread their seed, right? And they don't even understand that typically. Lots of times they don't even know why they want to spread their seed. They just want a girl. Oh, this girl's gonna be so cute. This girl, she's gonna be so adorable. She's gonna do what I want. And this girl, when I meet her, oh, I'm gonna meet her one day. And when I find her, I'm gonna look and so vigilantly, and I'm gonna find her one day. And when I find her, she's gonna be a virgin. She's gonna do whatever I say and stuff, man. And she's gonna be brought up by a good family. It's like, dude, you have nothing to offer, you average person. Over there, got made trademark, and he's just over there kicking everyone's ass and taking everyone's name. And you expect, I don't want to get it. It's like you expect May trademark to not take your girl, and he's up there kicking ass in his rock and roll clothes and stuff. It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any damn sense. Maitre Mark even says the normies are starting to wake up to the S and the E. I'm not sure what those letters stand for, but they're standing up for it or standing up to it. They're waking up to it and standing up against it. They know, but they are scared to say it. And I do believe that is a big sentiment as well, is that you feel something, but it's like, oh, everybody feels it. It's kind of like a metaphor for the eclipse. Well, you feel something, but you don't know what it is, so you're not gonna talk about it, but you're like, you feel something, something's gonna happen, but you don't wanna be like one of them conspiracy theorists, so you're just over there like, "Huh, I feel like something weird's gonna happen." I don't know how it goes, but I can say, and I've looked at plenty of people, many several a times in the recent future or the recent past, and I've looked at their faces. I looked at their faces, and this is like not every person who I see, obviously. I note it sometimes here and there whenever I note it, but I look at them and they'll seem extra tired or extra depressed or extra um, miffed at life or whatnot. They'll just seem like defeated. They just seem extra defeated, dude. They seem extra defeated in one way or another. And I look at these people and I say, man, you're defeated right now. It's like if you had any idea, if you have any sort of idea how defeated you're going to be later, it's like, dude, you're going to look back at this time and this point in time when you were depressed and you were defeated and you were looking all dejected. You're going to look at this time like it was the golden days. You realize that? I mean, you're going to find out what it's like to be depressed. You're going to really find out what it's like. And I'm not happy to say that. I'm also going to find out what it's like. However, I am not yet depressed, as most normies walking around depressed. And this is why they slam in the energy drinks. They in a deep depression. They need to tweak out on drugs. And that's why they take the energy drinks, slam them all day long. They're in a depression. It says here in Australia, this comes from H.A. Mark, it says, there are more and more people living in vans. The new gypsies, it's interesting. The other day I was thinking to myself, and I never wound up Googling it. I was like, are the gypsies? I mean, this is always just halfway assumed by me, but I don't know the answer. Is gypsies? What is that? Is that an ethnicity? It's like, what is that? Can you be born like you had gypsy blood, or can anybody technically take up the reins of being a gypsy? I know, yeah, you can live that gypsy lifestyle, but does that necessarily make you a gypsy if an authentic gypsy came up to you? Where they say, "Oh, you don't have our blood. We got supreme blood. We're over here like the Jews over there. Those Jews over there think that they got supreme blood, and they think their blood is better than everybody else's blood, and everybody else has inferior blood." And our gypsies, the same people, our gypsies running around talking about, "Oh man, we got gypsy blood." And no, you're not exactly a gypsy. You cannot exactly do trickery and all sort of shenanigans like the way a gypsy could do. Is that how gypsies work? And I never did Google it, but a lot of people living like that. They can't help it. They can't help it, it seems. I am told, and I keep getting told, that there's people making six figures. That means at least $100,000 a year, who are living paycheck to paycheck. See, that's what's freaking me out. And everybody's very quiet about their struggle, I guess you would say. Everybody's trying to not embarrass themselves as far as how bad they're struggling. And people keep telling me that there's six-figure earners who are struggling and living paycheck to paycheck. And they keep telling me this. And I'm like, what? And so I'm assuming that could be real, that people are doing that. And it's like, isn't that wow? It's so interesting to think about it. It's like, dude, you know, some people might want to go back in time and say change their circumstances, right? But to me, and a lot of I don't know, a lot of y'all might agree with me, is that it doesn't make any damn sense. It's not worth it, you know, because you could be in a totally different scenario or echelon in society, and it could all come crashing down. I mean, I think to myself, what if myself went and did certain things and I got like degrees or something, or I messed around and I did something that caused me to have a job where I earn over $100,000 a year, and yet and still I'm living paycheck to paycheck. It's like, dude, that's the worst. That would be the worst of the worst hell I could ever imagine. That I actually went to that extent to be getting it like that, and still I had to live paycheck to paycheck. It's wild. That's that seems to me markedly and very obviously worse than my situation, in which I've always just been in poverty, it doesn't really bother me so much, and I'm a little bit more adaptable. Never forget, it says being in poverty, we don't have as far to fall as the upper class, dude. Isn't that what I just said word for word? I didn't put it up on the screen, but isn't that what I just said? It's like a little bit harder for them. Is that how they really, really got to deal? They're so used to having these things, and they're like, dude, I can't have these things. And I'm seeing people all on the internet, and they're like, dude, I work. You've seen them, these ladies and probably men on the internet, and they're like, dude, I have 4 jobs. They're like, dude, I fucking don't never stop working, and I'm miserable, and my whole life's miserable, and I can't move out of my parents' house or whatever. It's just like, or like some people, maybe they moved out of their parents' house and stuff, and now they're having to pay rent. And after the first of the month, they're stony broke, and just quietly suffering. That is all sort of messed up for them. For me, it's like, dude, times are tougher and stuff is tighter, but it's not much different for me, like, at all. And so I'm not feeling it yet, and that could perhaps be part of my preparation by God. Maybe God is like, dude, stay poor all up until right now. Maybe I'll get a lot of money, but I don't know why. It's like, maybe I will. Hey, speaking of that, before we get up out of here, we've been here a long time. As everybody, I just want to say it so that I'm saying it, and I think a lot of people probably agree with me, or a lot of people will probably disagree with me, but it's just only my opinion. Is that the U.S. dollar is not trustable. You can't trust it for any reason, and and so if you were to agree with, and not everybody uses U.S. dollars, but if you were to agree with me that the US dollar is not trustable, then it would seem reasonable that you would want to invest in something else. A lot of people, have this and that to say about different various things. A lot of people call everything a scam. It's like, okay, I understand, but from what I've seen, and I'm not like reinventing the wheel or anything, is that the US dollar sucks and it's going to be weaker and weaker, and it's just inevitable. So, me personally, I'm going to do whatever I can to invest. Personally, a lot of people they're going to do their own thing. Everybody should do their own thing, but I'm going to have to invest whatever I can. I'm talking about whatever I can. I'm talking about I want to get rid of every dollar, like on every paycheck, dude. I want to get rid of all my dollars. I and I want to divest them and say Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin's a big one. All right, but I do know people in the crypto who are experts at crypto. I am not, and I'm not fixing to be. All right. So if these experts at crypto, if they make moves, I want to copy them and see if I can get money the way they get money. Right, and not let this crypto stuff just go all through my fingers. It's messed up. All each and every one of us who we all knew about Bitcoin way back in the day, we could have easily bought some Bitcoin with our little spare money, and we'd have all sort of money and stuff. Everybody knows that, right? I mean, over the years, we would be like all millionaires, right? So a lot of people probably trip out about that, but also you could have easily it's like the butterfly effect. Could have been a millionaire, but you could have died. right? So yeah, you missed out on Bitcoin. Don't freak out about it. I would imagine, but why not buy Bitcoin now? Why not buy Bitcoin? And there'd be some people about no matter what you say, they'll say, "Oh, you're being scammed." I'm over here talking about. I have no idea why you wouldn't buy Bitcoin now or these other cryptos, whatnot. And I know like they're not strong like Bitcoin is. But I don't know why you wouldn't get like silver. I want to get silver, right? Because our money ain't worth shit. You might say, well, that money ain't worth nothing either. It's like, dude, okay, technically you're right. All right, but silver is very useful. Gold is pretty damn useful as well. Bitcoin in like in theory, Bitcoin is quite useful, and people in El Salvador love it. All right, so you're tripping. That's what I think about, investing. All right. Matrix Mark said, yep, when the fall comes, the money in the bank disappears overnight. Yeah. See, definitely the fall is coming. We're already falling right now, so to speak. How's it going to happen? I don't know. There's a few ways, and I think we know the ways. The few various ways in which, oops the days, we ain't got no money. Oh, you had money, you had some numbers. Oh, you were looking at numbers yesterday, now you don't have any numbers. Ah, dang it. Something bad happened. I think Russia was colluding. Oh, man, dang it. I think the sun was doing some spots and stuff, and AT&T went down, and so you don't got no numbers. Oh, you don't have any numbers. All right. We'll get y'all some numbers. We'll get y'all some numbers, but we got some new kind of numbers. They're all digital. We can't give you no paper. We got all those digital numbers, but the various ways in which it could be like, oh, these white supreme people came and they kidnapped all sort of LGBTQs and they put them on a train and they were holding them on that train for ransom, and they took off these white supremes. They were all Christians. They were professing Jesus and they had crosses and everything. And they grabbed us some LGBTQs. They grabbed up like 50 LGBTQs and hunted them down. They brought them on a train, and they put that train at maximum speed. Yeah, they put the train. These white Supremes, they're smart. These white Supremes are smart, so they were able to make the train go just double as fast, and they were able to make the train go off the tracks. And when the train went off the tracks, it went right into this building, this sort of like IRS accounting building or something or whatever. Don't worry about what it is. The train went off the tracks, and it busted up all this infrastructure. The Christians, they were hanging out with the Russians. They started colluding together. Of course, they hate LGBTQs. They put them all in a sack. They rounded them all up. They were going to take them to the gulags. All right. But instead, the train went off the tracks. It busted up all the infrastructure. Turns out now you don't have money. And we're terribly sorry about it. We wish that never happened to you. We got some money though. The thing is, we have something planned for just in case this ever happened. And we've been talking about this digital money. We got it for you. We got a little card for you. We got actually a chip. We don't even have a card no more. See, cards are bad for the planet. We got a little chip, and we're gonna put it in you. And all you gotta do is inhale it and just sniff it up your nose. Bill Gates got a chip for you. All your money's disappeared, but Bill Gates, he's got a chip for you. You just snort it up your nose. All right. I'm not exaggerating, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Yeah, Major Mark said, when the fall comes, the money, the bank, yeah. But see, honestly, before we get up out of here, honestly, um, you could see a scenario in which you're walking around and you could deal like a silver coin, right? Like for a good or a service, dealing out a silver coin. It would make sense for all of us to become more familiar with the nature of silver and gold and copper, for that matter, and bronze and all this. For trade, and I'm told, I'm not an expert, but In fact, I'm retarded, but I'm told, get on that bullion. Don't be buying those stupid coins and all this with an eagle or a gun or Donald Trump. Don't be buying these coins with the pictures on them, dude. Just buy bullion. Buy it right now. Buy it right now because the price of gold is way, way down as far as what it really should be. And I'm told as well that the price of silver is even more farther suppressed than it actually should be. And the US dollar is not only garbage and just hot wet garbage, it's useless. They're about to make a whole bunch more of it, and so it's going to make even more or less money. Our money is definitely going to be less. So they're saying bullion, and you can get some physical bullion. I said, dude, I need to get some physical bullion, like quick, dude. In fact, I don't make any money at all. I don't hardly make no money, so it makes sense that I would buy silver bullion because it's cheaper and I can get a bigger thing. If I buy gold, I'd be able to buy a little tiny little speck of gold, and then I wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to like. I would lose it because it would be like a little speck of gold. But that's why I like silver more. I'm not a financial um, instructor, in case you don't know. I don't know anything about that. Manny Trey Martin said, I have a friend with a mad mortgage. What the hell is a mad mortgage? I can only imagine because some of those mortgages are tough. This one's mad. It says it's on a huge house. A huge. I don't know if it's like how Donald Trump would say a huge house, but it's huge. He prays for the collapse so that he can get out of debt. It's not a bad. It's not a. It doesn't make any sense though. All right, he prays for the collapse, and I wish him the best. I hope that it really does go exactly what he's talking about. But he prays for a collapse. I hope the collapse also involves him retaining his property rights. Like I don't know what he's talking about. In fact, a lot of people are finding out even in this day that they don't exactly have the property rights that they thought they have, and sometimes their house gets taken away from them because they thought they owned it and they don't own it. But hopefully, in this collapse, everybody will be cool with the property rights of your friend. And I'm not saying that sarcastically. I really hope that he lives in a place where they're cool with that. All right. So also Matrix Mark said England had gypsies. All right. So I know England had gypsies. I remember gypsies being in that one movie. What was that movie? Snatch. Everybody remembers Snatch, right? Did they see that? Like in Australia? I gotta imagine y'all saw Snatch. Everybody in America saw Snatch. And it was pretty badass. And it has some gypsies. All right, Matrix Martin says England had gypsies and they were forced out of the caravans into houses to work in the factories, which I'm sure that would have had to have hurt their gypsy spirit. Okay. Matrix Martin says, "Hi, my friend with a huge mortgage pays 13,000 a month." Oh my god, you have a hell of a friend. Although I'm not sure exactly $13,000. See, that's one thing as an American, we never really could. Speaking for myself, I can't really like understand. I know people use American dollars in other places. And I'm like, dude, I can't even understand that. And I don't even know which places. Like, and I'm not saying that he's using American dollars, so that might be his dollar. That's the dollar sign for. I get very confused. I don't know what the hell y'all are paying with over there. Dollars? I don't know. Wealth is overrated. Avoid it at all costs. As we wind it down, because I don't want to be talking all night, like disturbing my roommates. They might have something to do, but it's definitely worth dwelling upon that. And we thank Matrix Mark for being such a legend. I'll go ahead and put it on the screen. He says, wealth is overrated. Avoid it at all costs. And in a sense, in a sense, I totally agree with May Trademark 1,000,000%. Right. But at the same time, I totally disagree in a kind of a way that is like pretty much agreeing. And I think that he'll agree, or maybe he won't. He's not obligated to agree. But it reminds me, of course, of a man you all might know, a man by the name of Andrew Tate. And Andrew Tate is very unliked by a lot of people. And they have a lot of complaints about Andrew Tate, and I don't blame them. I'm not blaming them as to why they don't like Andrew Tate. But one of the big reasons I noticed is that he's very adamant, and very vehement, if you will, about his followers, if you will. He's not running a cult. I don't know if people believe me when I say that, but he is not running a cult. Followers is like an internet term for people who like your content on the internet, right? So Andrew Tate, he's got plenty of followers, but a lot of people don't like him because he'll say, "Hey, you're a loser. You're a stinking dork." And the thing is, people don't realize it, and I know it might seem weird, but I kind of like that when he tells me that because I find that encouraging. Andrew Tate, more or less, to paraphrase, might go on and say, "Hey, you're a brokey, dude. You're a brokey. You don't got no money. Like, what's wrong with you?" It's like, dude, I'm giving you. He'll start ranting about it. He's like, "I've given you all these opportunities to freaking make more money, and you're still over there being broke as hell, dude. It's like it's useless. You're useless to me and stuff." He's like, "Dude, you're nothing but a dork. If you don't got money and stuff, you, sir, are a loser," and this kind of stuff. This kind of like paraphrase for that sort of rhetoric. And that's why people don't like him. All right. I'm over here having always been in poverty. And I got to tell you, personally, that is one of the reasons why I like Andrew Tate. Because he's kind of a guy who it's kind of rare because it's almost like he's snapping you out of it. Because I don't know about y'all, but I have heard it said and I have experienced that a lot of people will try to get you to not focus on money, right? And they'll use platitudes that I'm sure you heard a million times, like money ain't gonna buy you happiness or this and that. Money is not everything, blah blah blah. Those platitudes, I would agree, are true, but they're also unnecessary. It's like, dude, like, it's like, all right, it's unnecessary. I think to stress it the way that they do, it's almost like that they're trying to encourage people to not get that money. It's almost like it's a trick. I can't remember, but I do remember hearing a comedian describe it as almost like a trick. It's like that's a trick that rich people use to kind of convince poor people in poverty to remain in poverty and to not ever really like get the courage to aspire to get out of poverty. Now, he doesn't really go around saying it in these words, and I'm not trying to put words into Andrew Tate's mouth or anything into his mouth. Um, but when he's saying these things, I'm taking it in and I'm realizing that a lot of that is literal. He means literally get more money. That's that. There is a literal aspect to it, but to me, a lot of it is also metaphorically speaking, because the way that it kind of calculates in my mind, if you're a man, all right, and Matrix Mark says has shown everybody what it is to be badass. But for the people out there who's a man, all right, there's a focus. It's kind of like he's alluding to that there's a focus and an intensity that you need Now, in this sense, he's talking about money. He's saying you need to, the reason you're not getting the money is because you are freaking not trying hard enough to, and I gotta say, on his behalf, he does give people a lot of opportunity, and he does kind of like show people how it is possible that they could get more money if only they tried harder and did these various things. Because trust me, there is a lot of stuff on the internet that you can do to literally make money, and Andrew Tate is not lying about that. You can do things to make money. And I'm not just talking about OnlyFans. But the hype that Andrew Tate brings, and I kind of feed off of it. It's like he's encouraging. If it's not about money, it's, let's say money is not a concern for you, then it should be about something. Something ought to get your focus, your intense focus, and your drive, and your attention. And now, as a man, inevitably you're going to become an expert on this thing, whatever this thing is that you like so much. You can, if you can organize yourself, and you can really focus on this thing, and you can become an expert on that thing. And typically, um, it all kind of comes back around. Typically, if you're an expert on this whatever thing, if you're so good, typically you get paid for that as well. If you're really that good, people start to pay you for this stuff that you're so good at. And that right there is money. It's like you can't help but getting money. And I think that's what I just, it's like, no matter what, there should be something that any young man out there is pouring himself into and dedicating himself into, like an Olympian training for the damn Olympics, pouring in every day, constantly hammering away at this thing in order to attain, and in that world get more power. These are the kind of thoughts that never ever dawned on me for like 30 something plus years of my life. Never, ever. It's like, I don't know who I'm telling this to right now, but it's like, okay, whatever you do, pour yourself into that thing, and everything else. I'm talking about school and this and that, whatever else. F that, dude. It can F off and just focus on this thing. You enjoy it so much. And I'm not talking about girls, obviously. And see, that's how a lot of people get hung up. Is because they'll take that intense focus that they should have on whatever journey and dream and goal that they have. They should be striking at it like a retarded cobra with fucking OCD, dude. Like, just, you don't give it down, like a woodpecker who doesn't even give it down, dude. Like, just backing away, dude. Every single day. And lots of times you could do that with money and get a lot of money. That's not a bad idea. Just go get it. See, if you put that type of focus, intense focus on ladies, as most of these dorks do, you're gonna squander. You're gonna squander even your dorkiness, even your dork power that might have caused you to be an expert and be top notch at whatever dork field that you like so much. Even you can't do that, even because you're over here squandering your time for these ladies. These ladies who, they're not going to give you a damn. They're not going to either give you the light of day, either that, or they're going to finesse you about as hard as you possibly could get. You're so easily finessed by these girls. They're going to run laps around you if they ever even look at you. It's a miserable experience. Major Mark says homeless people used to scavenging will survive better than a rich mouse pusher. Now, mind you, a lot of these guys are going to start pushing around mouses with the brains. So there you go. In fact, I feel like most of these rich people, they have other people pushing the mouses and clicking the buttons. I'm pretty sure. All right. But homeless people might be better off. All right. As we get up out of here, we've been here too long. That's something good to dwell upon. Homeless people, for sure. It's logical to think that they will have an easier time adapting to such a world that we're describing. Like I said, the election, we all know it. How's it going to end? We don't know. Who do the people want? We all know. Oh, it's Donald Trump going around talking about mRNA potions and stuff and like bragging about it on the internet. Yeah, he is. Everybody's so bewildered. We have no idea. It's like the end of a world eclipse coming. Ryan Garcia is being tied up in the woods allegedly and stuff. All right, so homeless people are gonna have it a little bit easier, it seems. And so, like, I'll bid y'all all adieu tonight. And I trust that all y'all are gonna go back and have something comfortable, someplace sort of comfortable to stay where you can rest your head tonight. All right. But I think, yeah, it probably would be easier to adapt for the homeless people who are currently homeless. And those of us who are not currently homeless, like myself, might be productive to recognize, as I have before, how tenuous my situation is, how absolutely paper thin the difference between me and a homeless person is not much difference at all. And so that kind of makes it towards it. I'll have an easier time. I definitely will have an easier time. If I lose everything, I will lose a whole lot less than everybody else who's losing everything. And furthermore, we can't be prepared exactly, but it's like something of a preparation, a preparation of, the loss is going to happen. So let's wall out. That's my answer is let's wall out and let's get all crazy and let's start running around screaming. But we might get arrested. I don't know what's gonna happen. I can't tell y'all what the hell to do. All right. Um, I'll holler at y'all a little bit later. Okay. I'm gonna think about some cult activities, and I'm gonna write them down for next time. And I'm gonna want y'all to do them. All right. If you truly believe in my movement. All right. It's the end of the days. And I'll holler at y'all a little bit later. I appreciate all y'all. God bless y'all. I love y'all.